I did it. I did it. It was very hot, but I did it. Today is day 1 of tracking my workouts leading up to the Lisbon Marathon on October 25th. The goal is sub 4 hours. I have done a couple of marathons before. The first one I got 4:36, which was about 2 years ago. I did the Rome Marathon this year in March, which I got 4:08, but I really wanted sub 4 hours, so now I've signed up for the Lisbon one. Yesterday was exactly 12 weeks out, so for the next 12 weeks I'm gonna begin the training routine, or training regime rather, leading up to the marathon, and I'm going to be tracking all of my workouts, and yeah, it will be interesting to see my reflections and stuff as I progress through it. There is a slight benefit of the fact that this time around I've already trained for a marathon this year, and a couple of weeks ago I also did a trail run in Chamonix, in the France, Switzerland area, which was around 27 kilometers and 2,000 meters of elevation gain, and I'll pop up the stats or something, the Strava thing somewhere here, just, you know, for reference. And as a result of that, I'm hoping that my baseline before I've even began the proper training routine is already higher than it was for the Rome Marathon, and as a result, hopefully the training should pay more dividends in terms of the progress, and yeah, just put me a bit more on the map for that sub 4 hours. This is my mileage over the last year or so. So this is leading up to the Rome Marathon, which happened in March. You can see I topped off at about, what is that? Oh, can't click it. I'll get there eventually. 76 kilometers. And then here for the Chamonix trail run, which was a couple weeks ago, I think I was averaging around 40 kilometers a week, probably, thereabouts. Beginning of week 1 training. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it goes well. That is the run done for today. It was a bit more difficult than I would have anticipated, because it wasn't even too long of a run. I mean, for, you know, being 12 weeks out, I think it's okay. But generally I tend to eat before a slightly longer run, and today I didn't, and I think that probably affected the difficulty a bit. But that's okay. I think it's good to practice being able to run in like a bit of a nutrient deprived situation. I think it's all part of the fun, part of the conditioning. But yeah, first run done of the training arc. Let's do this. Let's keep going. I don't know if anyone else ever experiences this, but sometimes the sweat from my forehead trickles into my eyes a bit, and because the sweat is quite salty, it burns. It burns quite a lot, and it's very unpleasant sometimes. Oh, yeah. Not always. The walk back is not always the most fun thing, because you feel the breeze, your body gets a bit cooler, you start feeling the fatigue a bit, the sweat starts burning your eyes. It is almost lunchtime on Monday. Monday is a rest day. Friday is also a rest day. But on Monday is more of an active recovery day. So I'm going to go swim in a bit, and then maybe sauna and steam room for a bit as well. But the swim is the most important part, because it keeps my heart going, in the sense that, well, my heart is always going, obviously, but it keeps me a bit active on Mondays, but it doesn't put any strain on my joints or muscles, really, because it's more of a relaxing swim type thing. And on Friday, which is the other rest day, I typically do stretches, so I might do yoga for about half an hour, 40 minutes. Normally I would do this on Monday mornings, and the yoga would be on Friday mornings as well, but I woke up late today, and I also had a 9 a.m. call, so it would have been very tight on the schedule, so I kind of just deferred it to lunchtime now, which is okay. You know, I think it's good to be regimented in terms of, you know, allocating times. You want to do specific things, but sometimes, you know, one, it's probably beneficial to get the rest in and not to deprive yourself of sleep sometimes. Sometimes it's okay if you're working out, but other times, especially on a rest day, rest. But yeah, sometimes it's just good to just get it in whenever you can, rather than just worrying and obsessing too much about pushing for a certain time slot within the day. Normally I go for about half an hour, and whatever distance I end up doing. But this time I reduced the time just a bit because I was running late and I wanted to make sure I had enough time for the sauna and steam room, because I think they are good for recovery. I'm not exactly sure what they do, but I know it's like quite common for a lot of people to sort of use those on the recovery days. So I figured if it's available to me, I might as well use them. But yeah, overall a good little recovery session. Picked up a little protein shake too. Not bad. It is Tuesday morning. I did go gym this morning, but I completely forgot to vlog it. This is still new to me, so I may have some forgetfulness around when to record and when to not. But the gym session this morning was more around mobility, and some light, weights and that sort of stuff. So it was just, trying to ensure I have a good range of motion, a tiny bit of upper body workout, just because, it's important not to lose too much muscle mass when you're running so much. It's very difficult, I find, to maintain it, especially because I don't eat as much as I probably should be eating, and that's okay. I think the important thing is good nutrition generally. Is just, it's not necessarily about the calories. I mean, it is about the calories, but it's also about eating well in general to keep your energy levels up. But yeah, I think just doing some compound exercises, upper body, that sort of stuff, just to ensure, I don't lean out too much. I do enjoy running, and I do, want to get faster. And I know a lot of the professional endurance athletes are much more on the leaner side. Because just, having too much mass is probably not beneficial to making you quicker and that sort of stuff. But that's okay. Like, I'm not trying to be a professional. I'm just trying to be having well-rounded fitness more so than anything. And if that means, having a bit more bulk and maintaining a level of strength in the gym, then I'm completely okay with that. But the ultimate goal is to get a sub 4-hour marathon this time, which I think I still will be able to do, hopefully. Granted, I am now going to go for a run. It is almost lunchtime. There is only one day a week where I will double up on like a resistance training exercise and then a run. Only one day a week. And that's because I don't want to overload my stuff, because the volume for marathon training gets quite high. I do have more confidence in my ability to sort of handle the volume now, and my body's done it a couple of times, so it's, I'm less concerned about injury than I was. But it's always good to, be a bit more cautious going into it and not to get too complacent. So yeah, just making sure you get your stretches, good nutrition, good sleep, good rest, that sort of stuff. The run is done. I did about 5.5 miles, something like that. I'll pull up the Strava stats somewhere here as well. I didn't manage to do it at lunchtime like I would have hoped. I did it, I guess, later on in the workday, like towards the end of the workday. And that was because, sometimes calls come up. Sometimes you get busy, sometimes you have to do things. But that's okay. I think being too regimented and, not being able to, or not feeling comfortable of doing the workout outside of your specific routine or outside of the specific regime that you've set for yourself is, is something to overcome, because it pushes you out of your comfort zone. However, with that being said, so I mess around with my diet quite a bit. Over the years, in terms of like taking stuff in, taking stuff out, just finding what works and what doesn't. But what I have found is that fish for lunch does not work. What I found was fish is one of the things that I cannot tolerate before a run. Eggs I can also not tolerate before a run, but today I found out fish is something I can't tolerate before a run. I put some mackerel in my like a red lentil pasta that I was making. I just felt it. I felt so slow and sluggish during the run. Normally, my runs are primarily fueled by oats with some berries, maybe some coconut water or something. That's typically what I eat before a run. And if I have to push the run later on in the day, it typically happens at lunchtime. Very rarely does it happen after work. And as a result of that, when it does happen after work, it means I would have now eaten lunch, maybe snacked a bit, because obviously it's getting quite late in the day. And I start to feel the effects of all the things that I have eaten throughout the day. And based on that, I can begin to sort of work out what works for me and what doesn't. And in this instance, today, I finally found out that fish is now amongst eggs in the fact that it makes me feel disgusting when running. It feels very bloated. I feel sweaty a lot more easily. I feel a bit heavier, not as light. But it's good to know. It's good to have that reference point moving forward. It is quite early. I've probably only slept for about 5.5 hours just because I had a later evening last night. And to get here on time, I have a class starting in about 10 minutes. To get here on time, I had to wake up around 6:15. I'm a bit slow in the mornings. I can't just get up and go. It takes me a little bit of time to get into the day. But yeah, I'm feeling okay. Slightly sick, but mostly okay. So it shouldn't be too bad. So the plan today, or this morning rather, is to do the workout of the day that the gym does every day except Thursdays, I believe. And the workout of the day is essentially a high intensity circuit where you use dumbbells, kettlebells, and it's about getting your heart rate up. So you do a bunch of mobility work, compound exercises, that sort of stuff. And it's really good. I really enjoy it. I think it's really good metabolic training. If that is metabolic training. Sometimes I use words and I don't even know if that's the correct way of using them. But that's fine. It is a nice morning, so that kind of does make it better. It is quite quiet and the sun is out almost. Right, all done. Very exhausting stuff. But that's kind of why I like it, because then it makes me always feel like I'm pushing myself, which is kind of what you want in a workout. But yeah, it's extremely tiring. But you do get a lot of muscle fatigue in as well, in the arms, the abs, the legs, that sort of stuff. So there is muscle growth as well as, getting your heart rate up and pumping and that sort of stuff. It's not something I've done very much of, ever. Honestly, it's always been quite binary, whether I am resistance training or I am just running or cycling or swimming, something like that. I've never compounded the two until recently, but I'm finding that it's working. It's working very well for me. So I am enjoying it, and I'm probably going to keep on doing it. So today is quite a full-on day. I got my run done. A good 5 miles. But I had to do quite a bit of work this morning to finish off stuff. I've just run at lunchtime. I have some work to finish off, and then we booked a last-minute flight to Mallorca. We found a really good deal on lastminute.com, so now we're just going to go. But this is what I mean about staying flexible. It's important to, manage a bit of a dynamic between the rest of your life and the running, even though you might have a running goal. There's like an old Buddhist doctrine that I really like around, if the lute string is too tight, then it snaps. And if it's too loose, it can't play. So you need to find the right balance and the right harmony. And I always think about that, more so recently whenever I try to have some discipline towards an athletic pursuit. It's like, you gotta leave a bit of time there for some chaos, a little bit of enjoyment, fun, get out of the routine, that sort of stuff. So hopefully it should be fun. We're going for like 3-4 days, so I'm gonna have to rejig the runs over the weekend, which is supposed to be the long run. So I don't know how I'm gonna make that work, but hopefully I'll make that work. Kind of have to. But yeah, it should be fun. Running along the beach or something. it could be quite an enjoyable experience. So looking forward to it. I'm going to try and run about 10 miles this morning. I'm unsure if this is adequate fuel for a long run. I normally just eat oats, so I'm interested to see how this goes. I did say only a moment ago in the video that eggs are one of the worst things to eat before a run for me. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I've also added some fruit to the mix to hopefully add a bit more nutritional value, a bit more hydration, good sugars, all that stuff. And obviously I've got a cup of coffee and pineapple smoothie juice of some sort. It's been about an hour and a half since I had breakfast, so everything should be fully digested. Drank enough water. It is currently 31 degrees locally, so this is probably the hottest run I'm going to do in a while, and one of the longest I'm going to do it in this kind of heat. I'm aiming for around 10 miles. I'm just walking around a bit, you know, to get my legs going. I did go for like a little post-breakfast walk as well around the local area, but yeah, this is more to get me mentally ready for the heat as well. But yeah, 10 miles. I'll take it slow because it is supposed to be an easier, longer run, so it shouldn't be too bad, I'm hoping, but we'll see how it goes. I did it. It was very hot, but I did it. It is like 31, 32 degrees. And honestly, some of the roads are quite hilly, so the compounding effect of the heat and the hills, it's very difficult. I did in some of the steep areas, I did walk up the hill instead of actually running it, and I had to stop one and a half times. I said 1.5 because the second time was quite brief, just to catch my breath. And then the first time I stopped at like a little cafe because I'd run out of water in both my pouches. And in this heat, I wasn't going to risk it. Normally I don't, I prefer not to stop because, part of the endurance event is to keep going. But that's more of a pedantic thing. If you stop for like a minute, even when you're doing a marathon, if you stop for a minute to catch yourself, to catch your breath, to sort of realign, that sort of stuff, you're still running the marathon. It's not a requirement that you must be consistently moving the entire time. So even though I do try to avoid it in my day-to-day training when I'm training for the marathon, if it happens and I need it, then I'll take it. But I got it. I did it, and I am proud of it. I got the 10 miles in, which is my long run for this week covered. On a trip, it's probably the longest I've ever ran on a trip outside of a marathon. So quite proud of that. Now I can relax for the rest of the day. It is the next morning. It is about 9:30, 9:24 exactly. Actually, it's 9:24. This morning, I'm aiming for about 4 miles. And this morning should be a lot easier. It's earlier. There's more shade. The distance is reduced. I know the route's a bit better now, so I'm going to try and avoid too many hills. Some hills are good, but I'll try and avoid too many. The goal for this week in total is around 45 to 50 kilometers. Something like that. I think it's 45. I'm trying to increase it by about 5 kilometers every week on week. And some weeks might be slightly more ambitious, but that's okay. Yeah, because I'm on a trip, I'm probably not going to do as intense as I would have, aside from the long run, which I did yesterday. But that's okay. I've already started my marathon training, so I can start a bit slower. And considering the baseline is, you know, higher than previous baselines when I started training, I feel like I'm okay for now. So yeah, 4 miles today, probably about a 5k tomorrow. Should be good, should be fun. It's a nice day. 4 miles done. A much smaller breakfast. Focusing a bit more on hydration, as you can tell, because it's very hot. But yeah, hopefully it should be enough. Got loads of fruit, because water helps with hydration and electrolytes and stuff. But substantially easier than yesterday. So I think going earlier in the day helped. And I also think running 10 kilometers less, up less hills, also helped. But yeah, I'm on track to get my weekly mileage in, so that's good. Now let me eat this, because I am very hungry. Oh. Right and complete. It was very warm. Very, very warm. I think it was warmer than yesterday's morning. But that's okay. Got it done. That's the week over. I think I did about 43, 44 kilometers. Which is good. It's good for the first official week of training. You can tell I'm just glistened with sweat. But yeah, now I have about an hour and a bit to get breakfast, shower, get ready, pack, and then I have to check out. So yeah, that should be a fun little hour and a bit, considering all I want to do is just sit and relax and catch my breath. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll be fine.